Hi, my name's Amy Johnston, and this is Module 5, Understanding My Community, and my school is Whitson Elementary. Some of the customs and traditions of Whitson is the building was built in 1952, and it's a pre-K through 5th grade building. My building, the K through 5 portion of the building is dual language, so 2 classrooms are general ed regular classrooms, and then the third classroom at every grade level is a dual language room. They have their core subjects in English, and then their other subjects are Spanish speaking. And there's been a lot of talk about if the model that we're using, Gomez and Gomez, is a model that's being effective right now or not, with so many requirements that are being put on teachers and their teaching time. We have an active PTO and a SPMT, which our SPMT is kind of like our site council. They're very involved. They have monthly meetings. They give a lot of input on our school and how it's working. We have a yearly art show, Family Night at Whitson, which is a huge success. Every grade level creates an art piece and it's bid on, and this is a big money maker. There's also other family events that can happen at art show night. We have a huge Hispanic population in our school, and so we have an annual tamale sale to raise money. We're currently raising money for a playground right now, and this has been a huge hit. Our last tamale sale, we sold over 100 dozen tamales. We have steady leadership at Whitson Elementary. We don't have a lot of turnover with principals, so that is a positive. And we have a very involved student council that makes lots of decisions and things for our building. As far as the population, I am part of USD 501, which is within the city of Topeka. And so I included some of the population statistics for Topeka. Our population is over 178,000. Our age about is 39 in Topeka. The average income is just over 50,000, and we're a predominantly white city. As far as the Topeka Public Schools, we are the largest school district in Shawnee County, and we have about 14,000 students. We have ethnicities: 38% white, 32% Hispanic, 17% African American, and then 13% are other ethnicities. We have more than 1,300 teachers and 1,100 support staff. As far as our community channels where we get information out, we have a Topeka Capital Journal, which is also CJ Online that people can access. We have 3 local TV stations, radio, and then for our district, we have district and school websites. We have school and classroom monthly newsletters, email and text. And one of our challenges as far as communication for our school is all of our information we get out needs to be in Spanish translation for those Spanish speaking families. Our community is close to the Westboro district, which includes several businesses such as Josie's Bakery, Porterfield Florist, Patio Pool and Fireside are just some of the ones that support our school. There's a lot of activity in that small area. We also have several local churches that support our school as far as school supplies or things that kids or teachers need. We have a Fuzzy's Taco Shop, which I'm partial to, that's not far from our building. Advisors Excel plays a big part in USD 501 and has helped out several Whitson students. Boys and Girls Club is in Topeka. YWCA is also very active in our school. As far as the leadership for Topeka Public Schools, when I started there, I was really impressed by this graphic because it's just very clear and upfront about what the chain of command is in USD 501. So you'll see at the top we have our Board of Education, and then under our board is our superintendent, our district attorney, our school district attorney, and our internal auditor. And it really is handled that way. Our superintendent is a strong superintendent, and she's a great leader. She has brought about a lot of change and some growing pains, but she really follows this chart and it's kind of nice being part of somewhere where it's just very clear and you can just look with the click of a button as to where to go and who to follow for what questions. As far as community leaders in Topeka, we have a mayor in Topeka, Michelle de la Isla. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. And I actually got to hear her speak in August, and she's very motivational. She came from a very challenging upbringing, single parent, poverty, and has just really risen against every challenge you could imagine almost. And so she is leading the city of Topeka with a lot of confidence and with a lot of knowledge on things that need to change, and has very little fear in offending, which is great because I feel like Topeka had kind of gotten in a place where we weren't seeing a lot of change. And since she has become the mayor and we have some council members that have come into play that are super supportive of education, we're starting to see a little more change. Some of the other leading groups that I recognize anyway from Topeka include Go Topeka, which is an organization that's leading a lot of change as far as downtown Topeka, our Noto Arts District, different things like that. Advisors Excel is big in Topeka, Washburn University and Washburn Tech, the YM and YWCA. We also have Target Distribution Center and the Mars plant, which is a favorite of many of us. As far as economic conditions, our unemployment rate in Topeka is 3.6%. Our state and local taxes are below the national average, as is our utilities. We do have a Metro bus in Topeka that our school system is able to use for field trips and things like that, so that's helpful. And Topeka, now that we're kind of trying to revamp it and bring about change, there's lots of business grants available to grow our downtown area or small businesses. As I mentioned, Go Topeka is a big part of Topeka right now, and a couple of things that they are leading that I think has been really great for Topeka is the 712 Innovations, which is kind of a location that they've developed so that entrepreneurs can start small without having to buy space. They can rent space or materials. They're able to borrow their materials and things to kind of get going. So that's a really neat thing Topeka has started. And then the Noto, the Topeka Arts District, there's a First Friday Art Walk that has gained a lot of interest with the community, and it's kind of added a little culture to our area. The political structure of Kansas is traditionally Republican, and as you know, Topeka is the state capital, and so sometimes it's kind of difficult to separate the political issues. And our State Department of Education being right in Topeka, I feel like they listen a lot to what the city of Topeka's needs are. We have some really great people that represent us on the State Department of Education right now that I feel are listening to families and communities and students as to the direction we want to go. There's a lot of redesign projects going to try to think through how education can be different. And I feel like Kansas is starting to make a turn into supporting education more than it had in the past. Right now, we have Kansas spends 23% of our taxpayer money on education. So that's a big improvement from what we've seen in the past. As far as social tensions in Topeka, we have some religious differences. The Westboro Church and the Fred Phelps family can be an issue, and actually, that is within my school area, so that's kind of an interesting combination. We have a Rainbow House, which is kind of the opposite of the Westboro thoughts and beliefs. We have seen an increase in gang activity in parts of the city. There is work to have more race equality. There's quite a few low income issues in several parts of our school district, not necessarily my building, well, some in my building, but more in other buildings within the district. As far as we have one of our buildings that is the go-to for our Topeka Rescue Mission for our homeless shelter. So there's a lot of challenges with that. There's a lot of political differences in educators right now and what the state is doing. There's been a lot of controversy, so I feel like that's a tension. There is an enormous lack of mental health services when it comes to juvenile detention in our county jail that has started to be brought to light that needs solutions. And then, of course, as many of us have been reading on the news, that sex trafficking is prevalent in Kansas, but especially in Topeka with the I-70 going through. Extra sources of informations. We are able to get information through school records, questionnaires, city website, Census Bureau, minutes of meetings that have to do with school, websites for the school and district, and then Facebook pages have become a thing now that people are able to go to for information. Power structures. Whitson Elementary is a pretty great school for listening to input from parents and families and staff. But then when it comes right down to the final decision, I have a principal that does a fantastic job of making the decision with that input in mind. And she's worked really hard to earn the trust of the school and the community, and she takes that really seriously. She also sets a great example of when things are outside of her expertise, going to the district level for advice. So I feel like we have a nice flow of power within our building that's recognizable, and there isn't really any question as to who's in charge. As far as multicultural issues, as I said before, we're a dual language program school. So we have a strong focus on different cultures within our school, but mainly the Hispanic community. And for my short time at Whitson that I've seen, I've only been there since August, our biggest challenge is having interpreters in meetings and not always having to rely on the teachers to interpret and bring the information. So that's one of the issues that I see that I hope to see some changes in the future. Known power structure. The director of communications for our district is wonderful at kind of giving the company line, and I don't mean that negatively. She kind of is able to sum things up and communicate in a way that everyone hears the same information and is informed together. We have a district lawyer that does a fantastic job at consulting on how to handle specific issues when needed. We have a superintendent that leads very strongly and has a lot of strong beliefs that have brought a lot of change to our district that have been, in my opinion, very positive. The district is part of the CI3T program through KU, which works a lot on tiers of intervention and having things in place for certain needs and positive behavior structures, things like that. We are a large district, so it makes an environment where the staff sometimes is unsure of decisions being made, which I guess really isn't a bad thing because we don't all need to be involved in every decision, but sometimes there's things going on that you have no idea what's being talked about. Different ways that we measure public opinion. I feel that 501 has kind of been under a umbrella of maybe negative public opinion lately, and so they're kind of trying to climb out of that hole. And I feel that our district has been working really hard on ways to promote the positives going on. And so the employees focus a lot on putting out the positive image, whether it's in the news or the websites, things that we're doing well, things we're doing for kids, things we're doing to improve not just learning, but also social emotional growth. We have parent and community surveys that we give yearly, climate surveys to kind of judge what the needs are, what the expectations are, and how we're doing on meeting those. There's many discussions with business leaders to get their perspective on graduating seniors and things that are needed for employees in our area. Our superintendent's also really big on retaining people to our school district, so she does things like, sorry about that, offers teaching positions to people that graduate from 501. And we have school board members with various experiences. For public opinion surveys, we talk to parents during parent-teacher conferences, during our PTO and SPMT, which I said is like site council. We have a CI3T steering committee that brings a lot of ideas to the school on how to improve situations or make things better or continue as is. We have open discussion times at school board meetings. Like I said, we have our school climate survey yearly with families and staff, and I feel that our district is pretty open to conversations. I included some references of where I got some of this information, some websites. So I've really enjoyed this project.